Hi everybody, it's Carolyn. I'm here to share another channeled message today. This time I'm going to have a conversation with you not only about vibration during these unprecedented times and why it matters, and why being the observer is connected to this, as well as understanding what it means to be the observer in situations where we're now coming back together with family and friends in whatever way that means for us slowly. All right? So check it out today. I'm going to navigate you through what I feel are upcoming times, some of which I'm going to be dealing with this weekend, and I will report back. So thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Carolyn. I'm a distance energy healer. I'm a channel, and I'm a spiritual awakening mentor. And I offer these conversations and channels for your awakening and ascension journey. So I hope you enjoy this today and that you take a little bit of something away for your journey. Whether you agree with it or not, it'll give you some kind of way of assessing and looking at your way forward on this. And like I always say, take what makes sense for you and toss away the rest. So first of all, what I want to talk about is, as we across the world, and I know in the United States, states are opening up, whatever that means, right? In ways to allow us to become more, I'll just say, social in that sense. Because regardless whether you're shopping, working, whatever, going to a restaurant, whatever it is, it's social, right? You're interacting or you're near other people. So what I have come to realize, and I've talked about this in some past videos, is what does it mean to be the observer, okay, in the awakening journey? Being the observer is part of going through awakening, or I should say transitioning into the way of looking at what is going on as the observer without getting so enmeshed into our human state and way of being and emotionally charged reactions, when we can get so deep inside of ourselves that we lose that perspective that the observer would have. And so we've talked about that in previous videos, and the way it feels when you are able to step back from a situation you're in with family, friends, workplace, be a participant, but at the same time come from the perspective of the higher self, where you almost feel like, and this is the best way I can describe it, where there's this thin veil between you and them, and it kind of helps filter your level of involvement, in the sense of the kind of involvement that can kind of take us down the rabbit hole with anybody we deal with on a daily basis. And so being able to look at the situation from afar, step back, use our soul self to respond instead of the human emotional response, that's really what the being that observer is. And without going into a whole nother video that I've kind of already done on this, you know, you're going to understand as you move forward in this journey what it's like to be able to step out and come from your higher self in social situations or familial situations. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. And remember, that comes in fits and starts, and it is not a consistent thing all the time, okay? Some days you'll feel like, oh my gosh, I felt like I really handled myself well because I was able to step outside myself, my human self, and come from a higher self perspective and how I responded. But the reason I'm bringing this up today is I've really been pondering this lately. I'm always interested in your thoughts on this as well. And I'm going home this weekend for our first true, I guess I'll say, summer holiday weekend in the United States, Memorial Day. And it is going to be an interesting journey. And I think you're all going to find this, because what's happening is I'm, for the first time, getting together with family. My sister and my mother. Now, my mother's older. Okay, whatever you consider older to be. I guess you could consider me to be older or whatever. It's just, what's your frame of reference for that? So that's kind of the first thing. But the point is we know the older population is a bit more susceptible to getting the virus. And everybody comes, it doesn't matter how old you are, comes with their own way of looking at what is right for them moving forward. Some are totally laissez-faire, right? Others are locked down to the point where they're not going anywhere. And it's all okay. But then, is it? Is the question. So and you can't tell me we haven't all gone there, right? Because we have family and we have friends. We have all ages of people involved. We have all situations involved in who we encounter each day, whether if it's even your neighborhood or your stranger that you run into. What does that mean for each of us as we navigate this moving forward into a more socialized way of living, different than the way that we've been the last few months in most cases, right? So what I've realized is, as we each come from our own perspective and our families, and we try to get together for holidays, and people are maybe traveling from afar, or even not, living together, different health situations, different, mainly different perspectives on what does this mean? Because we're still navigating what this virus even is and how it behaves. Because I'm here to tell you, we do not know everything yet, right? We think we do, and we think we have some guidelines put in place that will be helpful, which I do agree. But then the question is, what do people do with that, right? So what I realized today is this is a huge test of us being able to be the observer. And what does that even mean when you're the observer in a situation where you're very tied into your loved ones? And we're just going to take family, for example. So family is going to have every individual's probably going to have a very different perspective on this, all right? But how do we, when we love someone and care for them, how do we step back as the observer and be able to participate in a way that doesn't enmesh ourselves in that situation and provide a highly emotional response when we care and love and may not agree with how they or we as a family are moving forward in getting together? And I truly think after this weekend, I am going to be tested to my limits of being able to, first of all, even understand what it means after a situation like we've had with the virus, to be a calm, present observer, allowing people obviously to make their own mind up, but then there's a collective decision that has to be made because we're impacting each other. So what does that mean, and how do you become the observer without becoming highly emotional? And you know how that is, going down that rabbit hole where you can't get out, and then you're responding and you're talking and you're saying things you don't mean, and then it gets nasty, which it can, especially with people who have, really strong personalities. But then when you are the observer, what does that even mean in the sense of being able to come from a place that is a reasonable response, but then also when you feel potentially that maybe you need to speak up for someone else who isn't as strong in speaking up for themselves and have beliefs about what they think they should do and possibly should not be out in a social environment, but then get influenced by others in the family. And then we've got this situation where it becomes emotional potentially, because we're all going to travel this own individual journey. But then when we get together, we're not all going to sync up. So I'm putting that out there today because what we are probably all going to encounter to one degree or another is this ability to find a rational way forward, but to be able to present our own views and stand strong in our own way of moving forward, but to be able to accommodate others. And at the same time, not get into an emotional discussion about that pulls you down the rabbit hole, and then you've lost the working from your higher self. Now, we're at all different stages of that, of learning how to work from our higher self. I don't do a great job of that. I would say probably when I'm with family. And that's typically when that's probably going to happen for you, where we get pulled out of that observer role, or when we're learning how to become that observer and just breathe and let others have their say, have their day, watch the interactions, let it play out, kind of like you're watching theater, right? Because sometimes it is theater, and letting that happen. But during this time, when do you put your opinion in? When do you participate? How do you participate? What does that mean then in being the observer? Are you not impacting what's happening? How do you keep your high vibration in that circumstance as well? So how do you stay the observer when your collective group can't agree on how to come together again? We're all going to have that. I would near guarantee you we're all going to have that in some way or another. Forget the family you're living with. That's different. You've been going through this together. But family, friends that you haven't seen for a while, when you start to come back together, when holidays show up, What is that? What does that mean to be able to participate in the conversation about what it means to be together again, how you're going to navigate that? Because you have all ages, you have all health concerns. I don't have an answer for that, but to be able to still stay strong in being the observer yet participate. Okay, so what they're saying to me, it is about participating without the high ranging emotion that can occur in humankind, okay, that then contributes to taking everybody down the rabbit hole and lower vibration. Okay, I have chills. All right, that is super hard though. Okay, that's super hard. And particularly, here's the thing, when you care about somebody. So I'm going to give my example. My mother, she's 83, typically has been in good health, but she has asthma and now has been apparently diagnosed with COPD. Well, she's one in the category of immune compromised. She lives in her own home still. She's in a perfect situation to isolate herself and has been doing so. And now we're coming together again. And when you have a disconnect between how everybody wants to be able to behave, all right, in the family unit when they come together, what is a reasonable approach for you, the one going through the awakening journey, to be able to still stay in that great place of love? For example, my mother, who I want to see have her opportunity to do what is right for her, and yet not have us as, and yet not have me as the daughter who loves her get pulled into a discussion of great emotion and then shift and change the whole way, and just be the observer of that, shift and change the whole way that she really wants to have things done. Because, ultimately you could argue the oldest person in the family that has the most compromised situation, maybe they're the ones that are the ones to be able to, set the stage for that. But not everybody's that strong to do that. So how do we move forward in that journey to still be highly connected into our families, but not into the arguments that I'm guaranteeing you are going to ensue in a lot of situations about what to do? And we may have family members and friends who aren't going to get together with us again for a while as a result of that, for holidays, for events. But being the observer, being the calm presence, as they said. Okay, so all right, so what they're saying to me now, okay, see, because I get in my human head with this when I'm with my family. So they said it's all about vibration. And we're going to talk about vibration also in a different way. Being the observer, you bring a different vibration to the conversation, which will help instill, less emotional response and reaction from others in the unit, meaning in the unit that's having the conversation or together. Okay, they just said offering a more balanced approach to the group decision making. Okay, well, I still, as a human, don't know how to do that, right? Because we're new at this. We are totally new at this. And I don't care how many of you out there say, I got this. Well, do you? I don't know. I'd like to think I got this, right? But I'm going home this weekend to a sister who's visiting, to my mother in her home that I'm visiting as well. So it's the three of us for the first time in 3 months. And my sister has a little different perspective on things than I do, than my mother does. And we all, to a degree, have a different perspective on how to move forward. So I guess that's what I'm going to offer you right now, because honestly, the reason I'm doing this video, I also had the question, and I don't do a real great job of sitting there having a conversation with my spirit team, because I think I need to just share this all with you guys. So I guess it's about really finding that way to be able to not speak for the other person, even if you believe that that's the way to behave in this scenario we're in with the virus, where we don't know what a second wave might look like. We don't even know. I mean, I don't care what anybody tells you. We don't know what things are going to look like. So how do we respond? How do we react? Now, you could argue, well, you just don't get together. Well, that's not going to happen, apparently. So anyway, I'm going to learn a lot this weekend. I am going to work very hard. I'm going to set myself up with meditation before I go tomorrow, which this is Friday, so I don't know if you'll have this posted before I actually go, but tomorrow would be Saturday. I'm going to set myself up with, okay, hello, this is what they're saying now. Okay, they said, prepare yourself. So this is exactly what I'm saying. So I'm going to prepare myself with a strong meditation. I do meditate every day, but I'm a strong meditation. I'm going to call my angels and my guides in, and I'm going to ask them to support me in being able to be, okay, the highest version of myself, they just said. The highest version of yourself. Set the stage for that. Set the intention for that moving forward into those conversations. And I know at times we're going to get pulled into the strong emotion behind that, but the point in that is then being able to have the awareness to pull yourself back out. Just because you've gone down the rabbit hole doesn't mean you can't come back out, right? When everybody else is down there. And then you can start holding space for everyone else. It doesn't mean you don't participate, but you participate in a different way. So this is a journey. I am going to report back on this because I guarantee you we're going to have some interesting conversations when I get there, because I get there tomorrow. My sister gets there today, and she wants to go out to a restaurant, and my mom's not having any of that, but she may choose to do so because she gets influenced, kind of thing. And then I'm going to show up tomorrow. What's it going to be like? How am I going to observe while also at the same time participating? What does that feel like to work from your higher self and not be that full-on, highly emotional, which I can get, human, and then just take everybody into a place they don't want to be? Because here's the other thing too. What we have to remember is we have really strong energies within us as we've gone through the awakening. There is more light in us. There's more that we can impact. There's more influence we have. And I'm here to tell you right now, we have more influence when we actually go down that rabbit hole of being the human too. And that's not what we're looking to do. We're looking to work from our higher self perspective. So be aware of that. It's almost like, okay, so they're showing, throwing gasoline on an already blazing fire, and it turns into an inferno. We're the blazing fire, right? Then you pour the situation in, the emotion in, and you, as the one awakening, because you're holding so much more light, that shows up, but it's showing up in a human way. So just understand what we carry with us as far as energy doesn't just show up in our higher awakened states and moments, because we do. We have fits and starts. We go in and out of this all the time in how we react to others. And so what they're showing me then is that we also have that ability to impact even greater when we move into that human form and reactionary way of working, an emotional way of working, just the same as we do when we're in our higher self way of working. So just understand that as the individual going through awakening journey with all that light you hold, it's what you do with it. How are you going to respond? Because you have the opportunity to add fuel to the fire in whatever way you go. Do you want to have a beautiful blazing fire where everybody's sitting around a campfire and it's lovely? Or do you want to have an inferno that burns the whole city down? I don't think you do. So anyway, that's the observer piece of this. So what I want to talk about now, and I'm going to go into this topic, which is probably a video in itself, but I'm going to touch on this, is what we talked about with vibration, okay? And this also has to do with the virus. So first of all, what is vibration? Okay, what does that even mean? What does frequency mean? So as we move forward in the awakening journey, we start vibrating at a higher level. And so what they've told me is that it's actually, they showed this to me yesterday, and they showed me a picture. It's our cells actually, you know how you see those pictures, and this is the picture they showed me, like on TV when they do these science shows on molecules and atoms. You know how they vibrate? Like you see this? They're showing me that this is what happens. We vibrate. Our whole body vibrates. And lots of times we kind of feel that. So whether that's a literal interpretation or just a way for them to metaphorically show us that, we're starting to hold more light, hold more energy at a higher vibration. And so our frequency rises. So, you know, there's all different kinds of frequencies and vibrations. And with what I'm about to tell you, I want to first thank one of my viewers who actually poked me by bringing in the same information. And then I realized I've been holding on to this information, this similar to what she brought through, and I need to share it. And so I want to thank her, and I didn't ask her if I could give her name, so I'm not going to do that, but I just want to thank her for giving me the impetus to share this, because I had kind of stuffed it in the background and realize now that this is a perfect time to talk about this topic with respect to cells vibrating at a higher frequency when we're going through awakening. So everything carries a frequency, low, high, everything in between. Again, as we move through the awakening journey, we're moving up this ladder of frequency vibration. We can feel it. We all have our own unique ways of feeling this. We can actually vibrate. We can feel that. We start becoming more sensitive. We start having this floaty feeling. There's all kinds of things that start happening that we actually feel. And we know we're shifting and changing in frequency and vibration. Before awakening, you probably never thought about that, but now we're more sensitive to all of this, and we feel it in our bodies. We know we're rising in frequency. We feel it, we see it in our interactions play out because of our higher vibration, but bodily, we actually notice this. So vibration is a major component to moving up in frequency, to also ascending. So that's a big part of us waking up in that sense of what actually then happens to us to be able to ascend to that higher and higher vibration as we move forward in the awakening journey. So as we start raising in vibration through upgrades, through, all the interplanetary stuff that happens, through practices that we start changing and habits we start changing, which, can be anything from diet to exercise to looking at yourself and feeling like you start valuing yourself more. You go through the dark digging of all the things and the emotions that come up. We become lighter. We start doing the things that really pay attention to ourself, being worthy, things we choose to do for ourselves. Looking inward helps us raise our vibration, because then what happens is we start moving forward in a much more healthful way. We move forward in a mentally healthful way, a more physically healthful way. And as we start doing this, our vibration rises. So as you look at your awakening journey, things have started to shift and change. And as we move forward in the awakening journey, you can look at your own trajectory. You see how things have shifted and changed, whether it's one thing or multiple things. And as you do those things, your higher self guides you to actually creating a space within your body for that higher vibration to take over. So as that happens, the human is involved in taking the action that the higher self has presented to us as the little poke. We make that shift and change. We come along for the journey to assist in raising our higher vibration. It takes action on our part. And so as we're raising in vibration, we have moved up here. When others, we're at all different places, right? But a lot of people are here, and now we're up here. Yes, we change and shift and come back down. It's all kind of like this, right? Depends on our circumstances. But in general, as we awaken, we start living at a different frequency. Now I want you to understand that just because you might have a day where you're not joyful, you're frumpy, you're feeling crummy, you've reacted emotionally terribly, you've kind of gone back into that human state, don't freak out. Because I do that to myself all the time. I think, oh my God, if I'm not joyful every single minute of the day, and then I'm going to lower my vibration, and oh my gosh, what's that going to do? No, that's not how it works. And I know that. But the human self kind of does that thing like, oh, I'm going to be punished, and my vibration is going to be taken away, and blah, blah, blah. And I probably should study that and figure that out, because why is that? But we do that to ourselves, right? So it's not about that single day that happens or those single events. It's about more the pattern of consistency over time. How are you coming into your own with that high frequency, high vibration? How are you living in it? We all go off and eat, I don't know, I'll use an example of a pint of ice cream all in one sitting, and add to that, a bag of chips. Those kinds of things may not help your frequency, and you've changed your habits because you used to do a lot of that, right? That was me. So I've changed that, but on occasion it happens. It's not going to destroy my vibration forever. If I start again back into the habits I had and the way of living I was before, yes, it may, but you're going to go through fits and starts. But the point in this is that as we're vibrating higher and higher, as we go through our awakening journey, we build up resistance. We have so much light in us that we can overcome certain illnesses. We can overcome, because again, illnesses are vibrational. Everything's vibrational. Now, what I want you to know is that we all do start, and I'm a great example of this. During the awakening journey, I've probably been more sick than I ever have been over the last 3 years. But here's the thing. I know what it is. I know what I'm clearing. I know why it's happening to me. I understand it. It's different. It feels different too. All right. So we go through those little things, but the point, and those are very, very purposeful. They are clearing. All right. However, what I'm here to tell you is what I have been told is that as we rise in frequency, and what these are their exact words they say, Illness cannot live at the higher vibrations. They tell me this over and over and over again. Now, what level of vibration, I do not know. All right. However, I can tell you that as we continue to, as those who are awakening and going through ascension, those who are, those of us who are the light workers going through this journey, we are continuing to rise in vibration. However, a lot of us are here, okay, in humankind. Those of us awakening are up here. Where's the virus? Where's the virus? Down here. Down here, okay? So again, as we raise in frequency, we start avoiding the opportunity for these kinds of things to infiltrate us. I'm not going to say it's perfect. I'm going to tell you one thing, though, is they have very clearly said to me, illness cannot exist at the higher vibrations, which is why, as we move forward, as those going through this process, we continue to focus on ourselves. And I don't mean hyper so, and I don't mean freaking out about this, knowing now that, oh my God, I need to keep my vibration high or I'll get the virus. No, that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm saying is that, okay, they just said built-in immunity. Okay, I have chills. I don't even know if I should keep that in the video. I mean, I usually don't take anything out, but built-in immunity. Over time. Okay, so what they're saying to me is that's the whole idea of this vibrational shift. Well, not the whole idea. Those were my words. Okay, they said it's part and parcel of this journey. Moving forward in greater health, as you maneuver through and shift and change in vibration, you will find yourself over time avoiding illness, avoiding certain diseases, coming through addictions, coming through physical issues that you have presently and have had in the past. And they're saying it's a journey over time. Now, I know they don't do time, but we do time, so that's why they speak in time. That's fascinating. So, it's interesting as this all has started to come into my awareness, and that's been the back of my mind because they've said this for some time, is that illness cannot live at the higher vibrations, and which is where we're headed. That is where we are headed. We are not meant to be ill, to be sick, to be susceptible to viruses. However, where we are now as a collective vibrationally, guess what? It's happening. All right, it's happening, and it's meant to happen. It's meant to happen for all kinds of multi-layered reasons that I have mentioned before. But point is this is a shift and a change for us into a higher vibratory way of living. And many people are going to be awakening as a result of this COVID-19 situation we've been in with the virus. So consequently, again, we've got an event, as I've talked before, that now is starting to help people wake up. More of us are raising our vibration. More of us as a collective will then become, over time, remember, this isn't like a snap of a finger, it's necessarily done, okay? For the majority of humankind moving into this, fits and starts over time. You're going to see this as your vibration rises. And here's the other thing too. When your vibration rises, things change and shift in your life that you can't account for, that you may not have made a choice to do before. You want to be out in nature. You want to be on the ground. You want to touch the trees. You want to be in the real world, the natural world. You want to feel it. That is so healthy for us. You change your food habits. You change the way you've eaten. You've changed your habits. You've changed you've even changed the people you've been around. Maybe you had what we'll just maybe consider a toxic group of friends at one point, right? Or relationships or family. And we go through this separation and we move away from. This is all part of raising your vibration. And it's naturally happening to you as you get pulled out of those lower vibration ways, which is also why, and that's not a criticism where people are in their journey. I'm not saying, oh, they're low vibe. What I'm saying is that's the energy they're producing out of where they are in their journey, where we were in our journey at one point, very likely. And now we're coming out of that, and the twain shall not meet. Again, they just said, the twain shall not meet. Okay, well, I think you know what that means. In other words, we're separating. We're not coming back together with them necessarily, okay? So point is we start seeing these shifts and changes as we vibrate at a higher frequency. And we take action on that part to be able to raise that frequency. And as we do that, we become a healthier version of ourselves. Now, there's a whole time frame where you might not feel healthy too. But what you need to know is going through this clearing and the things that don't feel good to yourself, your shifts and changes in your body, that's actually helping you raise your vibration to clear this out, to allow more light in so that you can fight illness and virus and things like that as you move forward in your journey. Now, I'm not sitting here saying, oh, don't go take any precautions now that we're opening back up and don't do the right thing, whatever that is for you. No, I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is understand that as you're moving forward in this journey on how to come into society again, know that the light you have is helpful not only to yourself and your own immune system, but also to others and the light that you share, because we're holding light for others. Keep that in mind, because the thing is, a lot of people right now are in a lot of fear. And I'll tell you, I've gone there, but I've gone there because of my mom, for my mom. That doesn't help. That's, I need to work through that. But we're all going to have that to one degree or another. So a lot of people are running at a fear level, which lowers your immunity, okay? All those low vibration kinds of things lowers immunity. So as you can see where we're going with this vibration, raising this vibration, you then become a healthier version of yourself when you also realize that fear is a way to keep us held down in a lower vibration state. So I'm going to stop here. I do feel like this could be a part of a much longer conversation. But tying this together, understand that as we move forward in our journey, the action that we take to raise our vibration, the things that are happening to us naturally as well, because remember, it's a joint effort. It's a partnership, what we do and what our higher self and all of our spirit team assists us in doing, what the universe helps assist us in doing, what the planets help us assist us in doing, and raising that vibration, assists us in our health. It assists us in moving forward in a situation like the virus, assists the collective in being a healthier version of themselves as we continue forward. And also know that as you come back together with family and friends, and whatever way that means for you, you're going to be challenged very likely with how do you maintain an observer role when as a human you love greatly. That will be a challenge for all of us. And I will update you on how things go for me this weekend, because I'm already feeling a little elevated in the emotional category, and I need to step back, spend some time. I'm going to meditate tonight, collect myself, and off I go tomorrow, and I will report back. So with that today, I hope you've enjoyed this and taken a little something away for your own journey to consider as we move forward in these unprecedented times and where we are needed now more than ever. Our high vibration matters, not just for ourselves, not just for our family, for the whole collective of humankind. You came in at this time to make a difference, and now it is go time. So with that today, thank you so much for joining me. Check out my services, purplerainhealing.com, where I'm still offering through the 31st. You just need to connect with me before then. Specials that I'm offering. A very, very deeply discounted distance energy healing session with an overview that you get directly afterwards from the session. They are powerful, and I'm doing this through May 31st at this point at that special rate. Additionally, Celeste and I are doing our soul journey channeling for a discounted rate as well, and we would love to offer you an approximate 15-minute audio on your soul journey. We talk about past lives, we answer questions, we pull in together information that will give you more than you would with even just one of us, because what we've always said is like getting books in your volume of soul journey versus maybe some chapters with one of us. So check it out. We're offering those discounts through May 31st. All you got to do is contact me by the end of the 31st and we'll get you scheduled. I would love to work with you. Check out the services and contact me for these at purplerainhealing.com. Thank you.